What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks Thursday night. We've got a bunch of you here already. Been watching the comment stream. Let's get set up. Do a quick sound check. I think we're good on my end. It's showing good on my end. Let me know if it's showing good on yours. Someone said no sound, but it might be you. Let's see what else we got here. Who do we got in the house? We got Ray, Tater Salad, Raymond Carson, Davis Mendez. What else we got here? Geez, got some NyQuil. You change your name back. Very, very cool. Jonathan Carson. Showing everyone, you know, it's showing everyone. It's doing this weird thing. It's done this before, where it's not showing like it's showing your @ name and not your like name. Probably more is happening. Here. Music keeps looping. Should be. Oh! That's supposed to. Why did that not stop? That was supposed to stop. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, so it's basically Cheese's NyQuil. You change the name of your channel, but your original like youtube.com/ @cheese, just like Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks, in the account name, it still lists as @Thin Air Graphics, which was the original channel name when I started Thin Air Graphics Airbrush and Design Studio. Even though I changed the names of everything, there's still @Thin Air Graphics, which is the actual like hyperlink to the channel, so it's showing everyone's name tonight. They did just do some recent updates, so it's probably just something weird. Just something weird. Let me I gotta up my seat a little bit here. There we go. All right. So let's show you what we got going on tonight. It's Halloween season. We're close. Obviously, we did the Mummy past few, which actually took 3 feeds. That was a fun one. Tonight, I'm going back to a classic. We haven't done one of these guys in a long time. We are doing a Mr. Jack Skellington, who is always fun to paint. There's our reference image there. That's a sketch, and there's a couple images off to the side, which I'm going to use as kind of lighting references for what I'm going for. I want that kind of purple. I want that double. Let's see if I can do this. I want that double lighting. I want purple from one side, green from the other, that kind of horror, fun, campy lighting source, which technically means you have 3 light sources. You have your primary light, which is the main light, or I think that would be called the key light, which is the main. And then you got your secondary and rim light, or whatever. There's different, camera light 1, light 2. So I'm going to have green on one side, purple on the other, and then obviously have your main light. So we're going to talk about different angles of light sourcing, and what's cool about that is, if you look at my sketch there, I put a little green ball on one side with some arrows. That's hitting, his left side, and the purple is hitting the right side. But you have areas like the eye sockets where it's going to crisscross. So you have purple on the inset versus the outset. So yeah, this is a fun one to do. I did a Jack Skellington, I think it was 3 years ago now, maybe 4 even. And that was a really fun one. I meant to edit that one. And that one was plotted. I had plotted everything for it and designed it ahead of time, which basically I took my sketch like I've done before and did a quick vector trace. But tonight I'm going to do it different. I'm going to hand cut it. and do a lot more freehand. I'm really going to hand cut silhouettes and stuff, and kind of show you as I go. But this is a way to approach something. If you don't have a plotter, you want to do it somewhat traditionally. But let me tell you what I got here. So I ordered these frames. Why is this not? Give me 1 second. I think my chat is frozen again. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to do a pop out of the chat again so I can see it. And oh yeah, no, the chat is messed up. Such a pain. Yeah, the teleprompter I got, which is great, but I got to use this weird app to get it to sync to the iPad and then reverse itself. So yeah, sorry about that. Gets glitchy. Here we go. Now we're back. We got Gerald. Is that Gerald? Gerald Mendez, what's happening? Gary Shees, what's going on? Okay, so what I did, I ordered up a few frames. I got two. I got one for this week, one for next week. I ordered up these frames. They were white, just like a plaster type frame. Painted them black. And this one I did, you really can't see the lighting. I did kind of a dry brush or drag brush of red. So it's got a little red hint to the frame, which kind of gives it that old, kind of worn look. And I cut an aluminum panel to go inside, so it'll look really cool. Last time I did one of these, I did a gold frame. Tater style, looking at that shot, you sure have a good selection of airbrushes. I do have quite a few. Yeah, I do have quite a few. And this is the studio set, and then down in the shop, I have a whole set for the shop. Different brushes, or a lot similar brushes. Yeah, I got quite a few. But 35 years of doing it, you do acquire some. And these are the ones I use. Then I got the collector set. But no one, and I mean no one I know of, there might be someone, has a better and cooler collection than Gerald Mendez. London Pen, what's going on? Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do here. I'm going to take the frame off, and I magnetized it so we could kind of, show you what it looks like. And so on, which would be cool. So yeah, so I customized this too, so this is all part of it. And I have two. I have one, and whoever bids tonight can choose. And it might be hard to see. This one, because the lighting in here is hard to see. This one has a purple accent, like dry brush to it, and this one has a red. So let's put these aside. So I'm going to hand cut and mix a freehand, no plot. But what I'm going to do for the silhouettes to keep it clean, we'll just take some transfer tape. This is just regular conform paper transfer tape that you would normally use to transfer vinyl to the surface. And we're just going to put that on. Here, hold on. Take a squeegee. Let's just squeegee that on. So when I didn't have a plotter years back, and I still do this depending on the job, this is how you would do a job. This is how you transfer tape, sheet it, you sketch it, you draw it. Or in this case, you got to transfer it onto the transfer tape, and you go to town. And I'm not going to cut every little detail. I'm going to keep it simple. Some of it I'll cut from the paper itself, because I have the paper here. And some of it, it'll just be free-handed transfer, like pencil and drawn on. All right, so I've covered this a lot. I just give a reminder, the best way I have found over the years, I'm going to get this closer. And I got to open up the... There we go. Shoot this over just a hair. There we go. Okay, so I take my print, and I've printed multiple, so I have a couple copies of them. And using a 6B, 4B, they both work. 6B pencil, I just basically rub the back side of it, And I usually, if I'm transferred direct to the surface, I usually do this. I usually take like a paper towel and just get the excess off, so it's not as chalky. So when it goes down. Oh, Sylvia, what's going on? So I got that on the back. I'm going to transfer this on. We're just going to take this, couple of tape on the top. I usually do it to one side. That way, you know, just like a Disney animator, you can kind of flip and make sure you're doing the right thing. Key here is use a pencil. And I'm actually going to probably transfer this twice because I'm going to transfer it. I know I'm not going to cut out like where the teeth are. I'm just going to draw them here for the heck of it, in case I decide to. But these I'm going to probably just transfer after I do the white shading, and then I'll just ink it, you know, directly on. I'll just transfer directly onto the surface. But I'm not going to cut. You'll see. I'm transferring the whole image so I have something to cut to. But this is the easiest way to transfer your image onto a surface. Like I said, you can check. Just lift it up. See? You can see a nice, perfect image transfer there. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. You know, easy transfer, right? And the nice thing is, once I do it once, and if I decide to come back in and do it again after I start painting, it's easy enough to do. Easy peasy, right? Look at that. Now I'm just going to put this aside. And colors I've mixed up for tonight. What we got here. So we have a wicked detail black, a cerulean blue, an opaque white. We have a violet, wicked violet. This is the apple green, which is a transparent, and this is the limelight green, which is an opaque. So I got to be careful with that. But that's the color palette I'm going to be using tonight. And we're basically just going to start with the white on him. And what I'm going to do, once I find my knife, I had the knife. I just used the knife, right? There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the silhouette. Now, it's very important when you're cutting on these materials. You cut once. If you cut twice, you're going to see your cut mark. If you cut once, your paint will line right up to the edge of that cut. So you're fine. So you really want to try to have nice, even cuts. You don't want to cut multiple times because you will get double cuts and you will see them. We'll put a nice fresh blade here. You can actually feel where you cut. So I started there. And just like I pull towards like my cut. Almost like a pinstriper. I'm pulling right in. And that's going to pull that. So I'm basically just going to cut the silhouette. You know, I'm going to cut all the major silhouettes right now. You probably can't see. You can see the cuts just kind of lighten up when you do it. And I'm using, notice I use my pinky as like a pivot point for these rounder sections. What are you filming, buddy? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask that. Do we want to know what Bobby's filming? Might not. Okay, so I'm not going to cut the mouth because it's really not needed, but I am going to cut the eyes. And I'm going to leave those in for now so they stay black, because I have a black panel. So I'll show you the kind of difference. I'll cut the nostrils out. These blades are a little rough. I hate when you get rough X-Acto blades. Okay, cut, easy peasy. Where'd you get the transfer tape? This is just regular vinyl transfer tape. This is by Art Tape. This is the Conform series. There's a whole ton of different brands. It's just what you would use to transfer vinyl from the surface. It's perfect for automotive. We've been using it for decades. It's transfer tape. And, it's light, low tack. It's paper you can draw on. It's great. It's cheap. Yeah, and you can get it at any vinyl supplier, Amazon. Half the time Amazon is all this crappy knockoff crap, which, you can get it. It's cheap. When you have problems, I try to get some of the brands that have been around for a while. I like Art Tapes. I think Oracal makes some transfer tape. There's a few companies that make transfer tape that have been doing it for a long time. I recommend going with them, personally. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this. I'm not going to need to put this back, so I'm not really worried about it coming off one piece. So I'm just going to tear it off. And simple. And the cool thing is, if I go back to this, I probably should have left a registration mark to make sure I lined it up both times. Let's do that. I'm going to go here this time and here on my panel. In case I need to put it back, I can register it to those marks. Okay, so that should be good. Because even though it's black, I can transfer this image, and I'm going to transfer it again once I do the white, but I'm just showing you just for placement, I know where it is. If you look, I wonder if you can see it better from the angle. Let's see if you can make it out. Come on. Oh, manual focus on this camera. Sorry, guys. There you go. See it? You can just see the pencil line, which is great. So it gives you a guide to know where it is. Trying to paint a poster. Cool. Oh, very cool, very cool. Senior night football game. Awesome. Actually, speaking of daughters, I just put up a post on my channel. Not my channel, my Facebook page. My daughter's got a little pop-up store. They're trying to raise money for the team, for the horseback riding team, because it's a club team. The schools don't really put a lot of money behind it, and they got to drive themselves and all these shows and stuff. So they got a popcorn drive for the holidays. So if you're interested in some yummy popcorn, support my daughter's channel. There's a link over there. I didn't want to put the link over here. I wasn't sure how YouTube handles it. So if you go over to my my Facebook page, I put a link there. Okay, white. So we're just gonna. This is gonna be really simple. Opaque white. Obviously, it's been strained. I want to put this into my Plus model. This is the HPC Plus. And so when I do this, I'm going to keep my light sourcing in mind. It's going to be heavy green to this side. You know, so if I know I got the light source is heavy coming in from this side here. So look, so you can, the nice thing with transfer tape is you can draw on. So this is all the green side. This is going to be all the purple side. Yeah, my pen's not working. You know, so this would be the purple. So you can kind of gauge it on your lighting. Even though the whole thing is going to be white, right? The whole thing is going to be white. I can go heavier to this side where I know the green's going to be. And that's what's nice about painting on black, is if you, just like when you paint on light, when you paint your core shadows, you just paint your core highlights. So I want the edge of that eye here. Instead of just blowing the whole thing with solid white, you know, I can basically start, like whenever I do skulls, you can already start putting the shading in. Just by these soft kind of dagger strokes, or people call them pillow strokes. And look, I'm not painting right to the edge. I'm putting the highlight like right here. And I know the mouth is going to be there, even though I'm going to redraw it. It's going to be heavier green to this side. And this side is going to be the purple. So again, I need something for that to bounce off of. I'm going to come around the eye here. I'm going to come around the nose. And just kind of build that shape using that background color, that black, to do like a tonal shade. And I know the mouth is there, so that's why I'm not putting this heavy. You'll see where that comes into play, because I have this here. And what I can do, before I even go nuts, is I can take, because I got that opaque green. So watch this. Now we can get that opaque green in here. And I'm going to just kind of blast that on this side, because that's where it's hitting heaviest. But the light's coming in. See, this side's getting dark. That means the shadow side, which that's going to eventually catch the purple. It's going to skip over that, and it's going to be actually hitting here. And I can establish some of that early on, because I know there's going to be green here. I know there's going to be green here. Maybe there's a little bit on this side of that, and that's going to be the opposite. We'll do more later, but this is kind of an opaque. So I'm going to hit that now. And if you only have one airbrush, you can obviously, you know, take your time and just do the whites and then come back in. Because what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do the same thing with this. This is all done in Createx paint. So this is Createx Limelight Green. Let me see if I can zoom back out here. You can see the colors over here. So we got Limelight Green. I got Wicked Colors Black. Opaque White. I got the Illustration Violet. And Illustration Cerulean Blue. I got Cerulean Blue here. Those are the colors I'm using. And then I got an Apple Green as well, which is a transparent. Yeah, I always use Createx on the live feeds up in the studio here. My two paints of choice. So all my water-based stuff is I do with Createx. I've been working with it for decades and years, and I understand how it works, and I know how they developed it to work on hard surfaces, soft surfaces. You know, so Createx Colors is my go-to. I've used almost every other paint brand. Createx, for me, has been the best balance of something that works good on hard surfaces like automotive, where I do motorcycles and cars, and hard panels like this, or, you know, T-shirts and wall mirror and things of that sort. So it's just a really versatile paint. For other motorcycle work or stuff, I use a solvent paint system. I use House of Color. Again, same reason. Working for decades, I know how it works. I've used plenty of other brands as well. But I just go back to House of Color because I know how rich the paint is. I know how long it lasts. And go from there. Yeah. Trying to put any water-based over Rust-Oleum, it can be a bad idea, so you got to be really careful with that. You can do Rust-Oleum via priming it. Just, you got to really let it dry out, and you can scuff it if you want before you go with even Createx or Badger. It'll stick, but not, you just got to be careful. Sometimes Rust-Oleum can kind of slick if you put it on really wet. The Badger opaques, they're okay. Even when Createx first came out of the opaques, like, oh, these are great. I work with them like, nah, they're shit. You know, I don't like them because I'm used to House of Color, so I know what opaque paint's going to really go down like. And like, oh, no, this is opaque. We tested it. I'm like, I don't care. It's not opaque when I airbrush it. It's opaque when you test it in the lab, but when you airbrush it like I do, it's not opaque enough. And Createx, instead of going, that's good enough, they reformulated. Second batch, a little better. Still didn't like it. Same thing. And the Createx kept coming back and making sure it was right. That's why I tend to stay to work with them. For that reason, because I know that they will do the work to make sure it's right. Whereas a lot of other brands who really aren't paint manufacturers, Createx is a paint manufacturer. Badger's an airbrush manufacturer. So the difference is Createx is the one making the paint, so when it comes to changes, they make the changes. So I find they can pivot a lot faster and better than other brands. I bought some Createx Black, and I have some High Flow Golden now. Yeah, the Golden's good. Golden's really great illustration paint. I don't like it for hard surfaces, but yeah, the artist acrylics, okay, yeah, they're a little bit better. So Rust-Oleum, when you say Rust-Oleum, you got to be careful because there's some that aren't, and some are enamel, some are lacquers. Yeah, you still got to be careful putting them down super wet. You know, like Createx illustration, Createx Wicked, Createx Autoborn Sealers, and even the illustration colors, if you add 40/50, are direct to hard surface, direct to plastics. So I got that neck here. Same thing, I'm going to get that green in there. And shoot, while I'm doing it, hell with it. I'm going to dirty up a lot of airbrushes, but you're welcome, man. Yeah, always a pleasure. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with those paints. Just whenever you're going from, I use this brand for this brand for that, this brand for that, you just got to be careful because you never know there could be additive problems that react funny. And it's not saying you can't do it. You just got to be cautious. If I use water-based paint, what's the best clear? So you can clear with any clear. There's water-based clears. Createx makes some nice UVLS clears in matte satin. I'm sorry. You can use 2K clears, like automotive 2K clears. I use House of Color. You can use Revolt. You can use PPG. You can use Inspire. Any automotive clear. You can use 1K clears as well. Water-based and regular solvent-based paints, they're really, when it comes down to it, they're really the same. It's just the carriers in them are different. So it keeps them wet and carries them to the surface. And solvent paint is a solvent carrier that gets the pigments and the resins to the surface. And then the solvent dries out and leaves behind the paint and the dried pigments and resins. Water-based paints is the other thing. You know, they use that. So, you know, you can go from there. I use it because I was a bigger surface and I thought it would be more even better. Yeah, if you don't have like a spray gun or a larger airbrush, then Rust-Oleum through a can is going to be fine for you. You know, if you have the larger airbrushes or spray guns, then you can use Createx or any paint system. You don't have to rely on cans. But for cans, they're good. I do a lot of miniature painting and cans are pretty popular. A lot of guys use Rust-Oleum. No. You can mix. So here's the thing with water-based and solvent-based. Even when you do it with like lacquers and enamels, you can usually mix them when they're dry and cured. Sometimes we require mechanical bonding where you got to sand in between. The biggest problem is when you have wet on wet. So if you have wet enamel or curing enamel and then you put urethane over it, clears, especially catalyzed, you can get that crinkle, the alligator skin. So, there's ways to do it. Yeah, so just remember, acrylic doesn't mean water-based. It's a big mistake a lot of people make. Acrylic just means it's a polymer of mixtures. You have acrylic water-based, acrylic lacquers, acrylic enamels. Enamels are also acrylics. So you'll see acrylic enamel. And the only one you really can't mess with too much is oils. When you start mixing oil paints, that's when you start having problems with clears and top coats and things like that. If you stay away from oils for the most part, you'll be fine. Lacquers and urethanes can have issues. Lacquers and enamels can have issues. It just depends on what's still wet and activated, So you just got to kind of be careful there. Yeah, and I always say that. I'm not saying that to you specifically, but I see it online. Like, oh, just use acrylic. Acrylic doesn't just mean water-based. There's acrylic urethane, acrylic polyurethane, acrylic lacquer. Acrylic's a very generic term, but it's been mostly associated with water-based non-toxics as opposed to lacquers and urethanes. So I'm going to put my purple in with a violet. And I'm going to hue shift this side, which is the purple light coming in. And I'm going to do it now, so I don't even have to put it over the black. I'll still put it over it. And I'm going to do some harsher lines. But before I start doing any of the major details, I can establish some of this color now. So see how this side's got the purple, because it's hitting here, but it's skipping over the eyebrow. Now it's going to hit this side of the eyebrow. So I can put some here, and I can also put this here. See how it can be purple in here now, purple in here. And this is just establishing it early on. And I'm just doing it soft. But you see how fast that kind of comes together. But I'm not overdoing it. It's very light coats, because I'm going to come in with some loose shielding or stencils and kind of carve in and kind of give it that cartoon shading. Like, I'll grab my Pocket Graphics here. Let's see. Yeah, bing. Placement. Let's use the Pyro one. Yeah, so if I wanted to make this kind of look like a hard shade, so I can do this. Now I can just kind of kiss it a little bit. Now see how you get that kind of hard line there? And I'm going to do it again here like this. Let me switch back. And see how it kind of gives it that hard, but it's still soft. It's still room to soften. But it gives almost that cel-shaded look. Warlock, what's going on? Yeah, again, I'm like, oh, I did Jack pretty recently. How many years ago do you think I did Jack? Because I'm like, oh, I did that last year. And when I went to look back in the video, I'm like, oh, no, that was way longer ago than last year. Same thing here. When I come in here, I'm just going to give it a little, I'm going to hold the stencil a little bit back. So it won't be a super hard edge. It'll be like a straight, but semi-soft. Yeah, it was over 3 years ago. Maybe even close to 4. So it's crazy. So I'm going to do the same thing with the green. This is the opaque one. So you're not going to really see the line too much here. But it's there. It just gives me a little bit to kind of work off of. And then when I bring the white back over, this is going to really work. Yeah, I think it was 22 or 21. Now I looked at it like 20 minutes ago, and now I forgot exactly. Because I went back to look. I'm like, oh, did I do something similar? And it was a round frame. It wasn't oval frame. It was the only other time I used the oval frame. So I kind of want to do that throwback and have some fun with it. Oh, we have a bid from Warlock. 200. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You know what painting I still got? I never really finished the hair on my Beetlejuice one. Still got that kicking around here, too. I should do that in overtime. Let me get a piece of paper here. It was 2020. Oh, because you got... Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, we still got to... Yeah, we got to talk about doing a Jack and Sally for you. This year, I'm really trying to get... I'm trying to take on less motorcycle work or be more choosy about who I work with and start doing more fine art illustration stuff. So we really need to talk about that this year. Nope, that one died. That one died. Ah. Warlock 200. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You didn't get the original one. I think that went to Gary. Right? Am I right about that? Anyway. Okay. So see, now I got this established, kind of the underpainting. I'm not going to pull the eyes just yet. I'm going to save that. But now watch what I can do. And I still got to use this pen that doesn't work. But so now I can bring this back down. I jumped on when you're cutting the mask right before I talked about tracing tape. You have any advice on cutting masks? Is it just practice? Yeah, honestly, it is just practice. Great question. Actually, it is just, it does, you get a feel for how to move the blade and spin the blade in your hand. Believe it or not, some things you're better off with a straight edge blade like this than an X-Acto blade. Because when you're going on surfaces like this, when you're gonna do a long surface, sometimes I like these when I do like old school flames and stuff. These you can drag better and put less downward pressure because the way the points are on straight edge blades. X-Acto blades want to dig in because they're so pointy, so it does take practice. A good tip I learned years back from Craig Frazier was, depending on your tape, you can like stack transfer tape, right? Like 3 or 4 layers. And if you want to practice, like watch. Now I'm going to try to, I'm just going to cut through one here. I'm going to pull, right? See, I didn't pull all the way through. I just pulled one. Let me go back again. So I only cut one. Now I'm going to go here. And now I'm going to pull 2. Now I can see, did I cut that one? A little bit, but see, I didn't cut all the way through because I got a good feel for it. Semi-cut. And you can kind of keep practicing till you get a feel for what's 1 layer of tape, what's 2 layer. See, I didn't pull all the way through. And then if you do it on black pen, you can tell, oh, I didn't score. That means I didn't cut through the tape. So, yeah, so you can practice like that. What's Warlock saying? If I have a Halloween light show up. Ooh! And what I'm trying to get someone to rework the light. Oh, I got to see. You got to send me a link. Feel free to share if you want to see it publicly. If you want to share it publicly, but I want to see it. It's awesome. I haven't even put my stuff out yet. I got to do that. Okay, so I hope that transfer tape helps because with practice you will get a feel for it. Okay. So now that I have this, I wish I could thumb up and subscribe twice. It's been so hard to get feedback. Oh yeah, I have a mini channel as well, so I'm just starting it. It's called Tabletop Airbrush. It's going to focus on using airbrush more. I just recorded this, but I haven't done the videos yet. So I just finished these armigers. The bases, everything, and mostly airbrush. Oops. Yeah, cut in here on this. So yeah, that's Tabletop Airbrush. There's going to be stuff going on. I'll do some stuff here as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the stuff I do as well. There's a couple minis from back if you go, like my Adepticon. My Adepticon was Adepticon follow-up, like when I got back from Adepticon, I did a video on that, what I taught there. So, we did a tutorial on underlighting. What do you mean underlighting? Like as far as like, you know, basically I'm coming up here. This is side lighting, but up lighting is kind of the same. No, I haven't done like a direct one, but I could definitely do that. Oh yeah, the Darth Maul video does have quite a bit of uplighting. Okay, so uplighting is same as this. So my side lighting here, I'm following the curves. Uplighting is going to be the same thing. And having these arrows kind of, that's how I figured out that this is going here. And it's skipping over this side because that's going in. So the green light would skip that and it would hit this side. And then, you know, it would be, actually, there's going to be some green over here when we're done and purple. So you kind of figure out the lighting. And now I can do this again because I'm probably going to freehand this mouth. I don't think I'm going to cut it. Maybe I will. I don't think so, though. But if you have trouble freehanding, then cutting it is, you know, definitely an option. But see, now I can see that. I can see that nice and easy where everything is. And we'll freehand that in. But before I do that, we have to get these guys. The same thing. This is going to be mostly black because it's the bat. But when you have black, now, Brian, this is what you want to be paying attention to what I'm doing here. So now, look, my green light's coming down, right? And it's hitting here. My purple light is coming down as well. So I got to figure out, like, do I want the purple light hitting this ear? Do I want the green? You know, you can kind of choose it whatever you want. It's just how strong do you want everything? But when I do this, I want to first start. Oh, this has to be really thin for the stage. Get that nice and thin. So now I'm just going to put a little bit here. Let me bring my reference image back up. You can kind of see that bat. And there's a couple little eyes here. I'm just going to put them in. Now I'm just going to hit a little bit here. So remember, I'm just kissing a little bit of white on this so the color has something to bounce off of, because this is a black bat, obviously. But I'm just setting up a little bit. The same thing here. I'm going to do this just because I know that lighting is going to come down. And I'm just registering all this stuff in. So this is mostly going to be black, but it's going to have some like pinstripes in there because it, you know, the bat bow tie has some basically like white stripes. And I'm probably going to put those in with a brush to keep them kind of loose. That's fine. There we go. That's a nice little curve, right? And yeah, I don't like that. It's not curved the right direction. I guess we're just gonna do this. Yeah. Cool. And then, oh, I should have, damn it. In here is supposed to be solid white. And I didn't do that. So now what I gotta do to make it easy on myself, I'm just gonna use, you know what? This is why you have the paper cut at the same size, because I can just do this. So watch, now I can just do that, line that up like this. Ta-da. One side, and that, we'll go back to our lighting. Light, purple light's coming down, right? Light radiates from the center and goes in different directions, unless it's like a directional light. Let's fix that. Show you how to fix a quick mistake. Don't panic. A little isopropyl alcohol here. Just gonna wipe that off. If I was a solvent, I'd just use lacquer thinner. See? Easy. Didn't you get the Jack? I never did a Jack and Sally. Yes, could always be fixed. No, the other Gary got the it was Jack only. I've never done a Jack and Sally together. I could have got away with texturing on it, but let that air dry out a little bit more. Kind of gotta get. There we go. So we'll put a little bit of yellow, this yellowish green here. We can put a little bit here. There's gonna be a little there. So we're gonna do more at the end. I don't think I ever got it. No, Gary, I don't think this is the only second time I've done Jack. The first one was a different Gary. So now off that white, I can hit a little bit of this. This is transparent, so it's not really going to show up on black. A little bit there, a little bit here. Ta-da! Very simple. Just a little bit. We'll do more. Oh man, enjoy the vacation, my friend. I'll keep you aware of the bid. I think you're in at 200 still, unless I missed it. But yeah, have a great trip. Oh, you know the other color. I want to see how there's that little bit of blue in that Jack. Where's my? I love cerulean blue. I love the way it looks off the white. I am going to use it. I'm going to use that blue in the background. I'd have to check my McKay library. Yeah. No, I know you don't have a Jack. That I know. So I'm going to use that blue. I want to get that cerulean blue just a little bit on the edge of that purple. So I love the way it looks off the white. We'll put a little bit over here. And when I come back with white highlights, it's going to really let that kind of pop up. But I just want to add color. Basically into those darker areas. We'll get a little bit here in the mouth. And when it goes over the green, it actually helps because it gives it... See, I can even put that blue on the edge. See how it makes it a darker green? Yeah, you don't have a Jack. You know you don't have Jack. I know what you're doing. You don't have a Jack. But yeah, see, this gets just not a nice color in here. Just really subtle. I can come in and add some shading here. Really fun. It's a really fun piece. Jack's fun to paint. Like I said, I can still bring out that white. Yeah, this is all transparent. Now, the only one I used was this limelight green. I used it at the beginning. If I try to use it now, it's going to go over everything. So it's a transparent purple, transparent blue, and then opaque white. So I'll go over the colors again. Opaque white. This is a detail black, so it's a semi-transparent black. This is a transparent cerulean blue. This is a transparent purple violet. This is a transparent apple green, which I haven't used yet. And this is an opaque, the limelight green. So these are the only two opaques. Everything else is transparent. So basically, you bring up the whites with everything, and then you tint them with the transparents. It gets you a really nice way to work. And you know, before I go too far, let's get this white dialed in. I want to put the lines. Limelight, yeah. No, I said limelight. Yeah, definitely not limelight. Yeah, I don't use that. I'm not going to say it because I'm professional. But I was talking about Temu Amazon products earlier, so. So there's a little bit more of a suit here. Oh, then I think, yeah, that's his lapel. So I'm going to do the stripes right now. Just freehand them really quick. And the nice thing is, these can be a little shaky. Because it's Jack, and Jack was claymation. I'll have to look up and see. I think the eyes... I forget what color the eyes were. Yeah, limelight color is great. How long can you get away with having the paints open like that? All night for this. Hold on. These, I can paint all night with these open. Most of the afternoon, most of the day, in fact. If I'm worried about it, you can just put a plate over it. And if I'm going to save the colors, I'll put them in a small bottle. But you can get away with them for quite a bit. Definitely depends on which type of paint. What really depends with water-based is how humid is it where you're painting. Because you can get away with it for quite a while in most temps. So this is the HPC Plus, which is the CS is the 0.3, the 0.35. The C, the CH means the HPC Highline, okay, which has the MAC valve or the custom the tall cup, and then the HPC Plus is the plus model, which means it's got the more, it's the higher detail over the regular HP CS. The CS is just the Eclipse. Okay, and that's his shoulder right here. Just gonna kiss that a little bit. Good. What do you do if you get a skin on it? You can toss it and remix it. You can a lot of times just pull the skin off and remix it and restrain it. So remember, like I strain all my paints through one of these just quick strainers that I make. There's a video on how to make them. Make these for about $1. And so if you got a skin on it, you can kind of pull the skin, re-wet it, mix it, and like restrain it, and you'll be good for the most part. I got so much paint, I just kind of just dump it and start over. But if I was gonna like come back and use this, I could probably get away with it for the most part tomorrow. But honestly, if you take this and you have like a cutting mat or something, you could just cap over it like that. You know, push down on there, and that'll keep the air from changing over, and it'll be fine. Michael McClung, what's happening? Okay, good. All right, so now we're here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the eyes because I don't want it to be super crisp like that. I do want to soften them up with the black. So I'm going to pull the eyes, pull the nostrils. Now, if you have trouble free-handed, this is where you're going to want to, you know, probably cut the teeth yourself. Yeah, you know what's really good? If you go to like a restaurant supply, just get those little salad dressing tins with a cap. Those work awesome. Mix them in there, cap them over at night. I used to do that a lot. The other thing, do I have any handy? Let's see if I have any handy here. I ordered them on Amazon. Got them somewhere. So you can get little bottles, but you can get watercolor, not watercolor, you know the paint by numbers little canisters with the little caps? They're in this mess of an area somewhere, and I can't find them. But you know what I'm talking about. You know the paint by number kits that got they're all attached in a row and little flip ups. You can use those. I've done that. Morning for us. Hey man, what's going on, James? Thank you for popping in. So now I got my detail black in here. Dollar General had them 100 for $3. Yeah, and you can get them on Amazon for next to nothing as well. Those actually, be surprised how many days or even weeks you can get paint to last on those things. I've used them on a few videos in the past. I haven't used them in a while. But when I'm doing like portrait stuff and I mix them a lot of colors, those work good. Those are what I use. Pack of 50. Yeah, they're super cheap. Okay, so now I got this is the detail black. So with the detail black, I can come in and I can start hitting, you know, I gotta thin it a little more. It's not exactly where I want it. The nice thing about these is you can put the cap on the back. I always take my air cap off when I'm doing super detail. It doesn't change the way it sprays, it's just I can see the needle and get a little closer. Amazon's got some decent products. I order a lot from Amazon. Just, I hate all the knockoff products off like airbrushes and paints and shit like that. But I'm telling you, go to a restaurant supply at Costco, you can just get salad dressing, you know, contained as a little lids. Those work great. So I'm trying to get this thin. When you get it just thin, you get instant What I'm looking for here is, do I get instant reaction or is it a hair delayed? Right now I'm still feeling a little delay. I'm going to do a little bit more reduction. Now you gotta give it a second too, because remember, when you reduce in the cup, it takes a while to get through the brush. I should be camping, but my brother accidentally ran over. Oh man, that's horrible. Okay, so let's see. So what I'm looking for is, like, there we go, instant trigger response. So as soon as I'm pulling the trigger, I'm getting paint. So I'm moving. Like, see how I'm moving and I haven't pulled paint yet? I'm going to get my motion set up and then I'm going to pull the trigger. And I'm looking for that consistency. And I want to see, it might be a little too high in the pressure. I'm at 30. I'm going to go down to 25. And now, I can do a little shading here. Under the nose. A little shading here. I'm going to come into the eye. I'm going to soften this up. So I can come across, see? Little bits of shading. Still a little. Still not exactly where I want. Did you order raw aluminum, or just did you order the coated panels like I was suggesting? If you're going to get the panels, just get the polymetal panels. They're already coated. Save yourself some money. Yeah, the steel ones, you gotta get those in a primer. There we go. There we go. Just a little bit. So see, I can start in the eye where it's black. I can get the paint flowing. I can come right off it. We want to come up, do the lids. Just a little shading. Now this is where I'm going to kind of get my motion. So if you can't do that, you're going to want to cut everything yourself. Or work slow. Do a little bit, pop up, pop down, pop up. But notice I got my paint flowing just right before I did it. $30 for two 12 by 16s. It's expensive. So that's $15 a panel. So just so you know, when I do my panels, I get a 4x8 sheet from a local sign supplier or sign shop, and you can get a metal supplier somewhere in your state. 4x8 sheet, you'll pay about $120. You'll get 22 12 by 18 panels out of that. 21, 22 panels. Just FYI. So and you can get them coated white and black. That's how I get these. These were, they started out as 18 by 24s, and they cut them down to 12 by 18s. And that's the same thickness. You have the polymetal panel. So it's not a bad price, but just, if it's something you're going to do often, bite the bullet, find a metal supplier in your state, county, or town. They're out there. And get a 4x8 sheet of signed aluminum polymetal. Double check what Coast sells them for too, or Spray Gunner. I mean, it's not a horrible price, but that adds up pretty quick. So stencil, just use that. I'm going to use this one and kind of give it a little radius. See how I did that there? That little radius down, that creates that's the drop shadow from the ball of the face. So it's not a straight line because this is not a flat neck. So it's got a radius around. That's why it goes down like that. The same thing here. We'll take this black. Really subtle because I sprayed it with a little bit of white overspray. You can actually put the black in. Just use it very sparingly on this transparent black. I don't want to use a lot. I want to rely on the color for the most part and just kind of shading that. I'm going to bring this down. An eyebrow. And if that's too tight, what you can do is come in here and just use that. You can just use that and get a nice, somewhat crisp line there. That looks really bold. When I unmask it, it shouldn't be. Cool. All right, so now this is where we go back in with the white. Now we have our key light. This is our green, this is our purple, but you still have a major light coming from the front that's kind of lighting everything. So we're definitely going to brighten up that center of the face right there. I'm going to hit all these kind of edge. Remember, I can tint them back down with the color later. Those core highlights is what I'm working on right now. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So I can get that nice little highlight here. Brighten that. Definitely going to get up here. The lower part of those nostrils are catching this main downward light. Let's just say your main light source, your white, your key light, that's coming down here. Okay, so that's hitting all the top surfaces. Okay, so see how that's hitting that. Get that nice bright highlight here. You're getting a little bit on the nose. And if you look at the reference, see the reference? How you get that really bright highlight here. If you look at the reference, you can see that. I'm going to tone this back out. So now I got to hit. So remember, I almost messed up. I started to mess up, actually. Started. The white highlight wouldn't be there. I was putting the white highlight on this side. It's actually going to be down here because this part, if you look at it from the side, the mouth radiuses in, like this is the outside of the mouth. So when the light comes down, it skips over here, so this part's in shadow. The light's hitting the lower, okay? So the light's going to hit here. It's hitting all this. And remember, this is all going to go, and whoever's bidding on it, it's going to go in this nice frame, which I painted as well. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. So this would be a cool piece to hang on a wall. Right? Who knows? Maybe next week I do Sally. Or I do something else. I want to do... We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, so now what I got to do, I'm going to hit the lowers. Make sure this is flowing. I think I might switch over. I might have a little bend in this needle. I'm not getting the response I want. Hold on a second. Oh, these I actually Warlock. I put there's a red. I did a like a drag brush of red accent on this. You can see it. You just can't see it on the camera really well. Oops. I just shut my... Damn it. Just shut my TV down. I can see everything on. Oops. There we go. What was that? There we go. There we go. So it's going to be here. See how that makes more sense? The light's coming down and hitting that lower jaw. And Brian, if we do an up lighting, we do the opposite. Everything will be coming up. And I can bring these down a little bit and make it a little brighter. I'm going to do a nice hard one right there, like a gleam off that. And still coming down, we can hit a little bit of this one. Nice bright highlight right in the middle. The paints don't really dry out in the bottles if your bottles are capped. If they get really old, you know, if you got a bottle this big, and I mean this is 2 years old, it's still fine. And this is probably down to here. If they're capped off, it's fine. And if it gets really bad, buy new paint. Okay, so that's got a good pop to it. You know, it's got a good, bright. Airbrush is always, even when I'm not painting, I'm moving. What that's doing, that's establishing muscle memory. So when I do this, I'm ready to do the line. Okay. So now what do we got? We got our purple, so that's our green. Oh yeah, so this is our transparent green. Now this is a transparent. So I can really wash over this side now. It still maintains the highlight, but it starts to tint green. So it's going to work with whatever's underneath it. Same thing here. I'm going to come in. Just that littlest bit. We'll put a little bit down here as well. Like, it's a really dynamic green. I have a lot of green going on in here. Thanks, Ray. Now let's get that purple, make that purple. Now we can really bring this purple in. But again, you gotta be careful. I'm gonna put it mostly in on the edge here. And I'm gonna use it just inside here. Simple. I'm going to hold off on final highlights because what we're going to do now is I'm going to pull the background. This is going to be a one-nighter finally. So what? Now you should just get a nice pop off that background. But we're gonna do some background. Still got a bit of 200 on this. If anyone's interested in going a little more, it's ready to go. You're gonna start looking like that. Like, it's gonna be cool. That's good. That's a fun one. All right, we need to make it pop more. Okay, so now let's get our cutting mat up. And what I'm trying to do is cut where I put the pen marks and follow that. You really can't see them on screen. I can see them here. I wish I could put the nightmare music on in the background without getting copyright struck, but I can't. It's in my head though. Yeah, we're going to get like a nice blue kind of glowing background to set him off. I do model cars. What's the best way to prep a body for paint? What cleaner to use? Okay, so when I do like a model car or when I do my minifigures, most water-based paints, most programs are direct to plastic. But most models either have a small amount of release agent or just from handling it the whole time. You got hand oils and stuff. So my biggest thing is I wash them down really good with basically like a water isopropyl alcohol mix and get all the plastic really cleaned off. Air dry it, blow it off, so it's in, it's nice and dry. That's how I've always handled it. And then you can prime with whatever you want. Like, I use Kratex paint for almost everything, so I'll use their Autoborn sealer, which is their water-based sealer. I'll typically use that first, and that'll be my primer color. Especially if I'm doing like a metallic or something, those don't cover for shit. So you always want to prime with either gray or a color similar. So I'll use like Kratex Autoborn Sealer. If I'm doing a blue metallic or an orange, I'll use an orange Autoborn Sealer or primer sealer first is what I'll do. And then go to town after that. Okay, so now my mask should line up with what's there. And now we can do, so you got to make sure it stays down. So I'm going to do a nice background. And then we'll do a little bit of smoke or something here. Let's find. Nice and simple. Pocket Graphics Pyro. Yeah, maybe I'll do a Sally next week. We'll see. We'll do some nice, simple smoke. Let's give it some spatter as well. Like there's some snow going on. If you use actual automotive paint, and I've done that as well. Yeah, I'm not going to even get involved in that paint system. I've been asked. I'm good. So automotive paint, like I'll use house color urethane. I've done that before. If I'm using automotive paint, I treat it just like anything automotive. I will, and a lot of automotive is not direct to plastics on model cars, so you got to be careful with that. So if I'm doing a model car, sorry. If I'm doing a model car that's plastic, I'm using automotive paint. I will use an automotive primer, but I'll usually scuff the model down a little bit first. And if I can't, I will use an adhesion motor like a Bulldog, or my favorite adhesion motor is House of Color AP01 because it goes down like super, super thin. Where some of the other Bulldogs, you get a little thick. But I'll put an adhesion motor on the plastic, and then I'll usually use a primer sealer, not a high build primer. I'll usually mix it as a sealer so it's thin, and then I'll go right to color, is how I'll do it with an automotive grade urethane. I'm using Createx colors here. This is also automotive grade for hard surfaces and plastics. What I'm painting on here is essentially the same thing. It's a metal panel that's been prepped with 600. So it's just like any other hard surface. I've done dozens and hundreds of motorcycles like this over the years. Which is one of the reasons for water-based I stick with Createx colors, because I know they've built the system for it. Because for years I tried to get a lot of us off House of Color, or just even to consider using them. And they were really good about working with us to get the paint working. Some of these other paint companies coming out, I really don't know if they do the testing like we've done. So just be cautious. Okay, so like that's a little bright now. See how contrast-wise see how now he's washed out? He's just even. I think, Brian, we were talking about this before. You know, it just looks kind of meh. Everything doesn't have any depth anymore. I've lost the depth because everything's now the same tone. So watch. Smoke and fire is going to stay fluid. So I'm going to use this Caribbean blue. Now I'm going to go back and so we're going to darken this up. So where it's dark, see what I'm doing? I'm spraying it really heavy. And on the outers, I'm spraying it lighter. I'm letting the overspray just kind of kiss over that. So now you'll see I'm going to gain that contrast back off Jack. If I did it right, Jack should pop again. Okay, let's see. See? Went from not popping to popping. And see, it's not enough there. We'll get that to pop back out. Hey, Chris. Yeah, it could candy it. I'm just doing transparent base, which for this small of an effect, it's the same effect. There's no metallic or pearl here, so the candies, it's very similar. Enough. Now I'm going to take that purple. I'm going to darken that up here a little bit more. A little overspray of purple's not going to hurt anything out there. There we go. Let's get my mug off there. Go back to the reference. Okay. And if I want, I could just do a little off here, just a little bright white. Use that little bit of pop there. I'll do another one right here. Just a little. Now make this little, like the snowflakes, a little brighter. I want to get it brighter off this. See how this is kind of just floating in? I'm going to try to pop that out. Yeah, see, now that just pops a little bit more. Oh, the 4053 is nice. That's the high gloss. I just use the 4050 to mix. I want to use Critex paint and test out for the base 2:1. Gloss clear 3:1. So their gloss clears, if for top coat, you only need 10% of 4021. You don't need 3 parts to 1 part. You only need 10%. Out of most guns or something large. If you're on an airbrush, you could probably get away 3:1. You just don't want to make it super thin. All right, let's highlight the eyes. Just want to get a little bit right here. Brighten that up. I think I want to just get a little. Soften that up. And I want to get a little bit more green going in here. Oh yeah, man. Please, it's 1 in 7 days. Get that out of your freaking head. Yeah, the 0.5, yay. 3:1 might be a little watery, so start it at 10-15% first before you go committing that much reduction. So let's get a little bit more. Where is that green? And clear, this is going to look outstanding too. The mixing difference always gets me with paint. You see, I did so much automotive for years. You just get used to mixing ratios. It's not that complicated. I think a lot of people just overthink it. So I'm going down with the Berlin green. I'm going to harshen up some of these transitions. Darken underneath here a little bit. And just give a little bit more. Yeah. There we go. I like that. Just balance little bits and watch it kind of come together. Thank you, thank you. I'm going on the bases. I'll be doing 1-to-1. God, no. That's way too thin, man. The Candy 2.0, you cannot spray that right out of the bottle. The Candy 2.0 has to be mixed into 40-50 or 40-30. The Candy 2.0 is straight dye. It's concentrate. That goes for a larger spray gun, for an overall surface, 6-to-1, 8-to-1. So 6 parts 40-30 or 40-50, and then to 1 part candy. Okay? That's for spraying out of a larger spray gun. For airbrushing, I'll do 1-to-1. I'll do 1 part 40-50, 1 part candy concentrate. That's for airbrushing only. Little details. Not for covering a whole area. That's for doing little details. Okay, that's the 1-to-1. For doing overalls, you want to be 6-to-1 or 8-to-1. Go on to Createx website. They have a TDS. Every paint manufacturer has a TDS that tells you how to paint for coverages. That's where you got to first start when you're doing large areas, is you go by the TDS. I don't care if you're using House of Color, Revolt, PPG, Createx, Inspire Water, Inspire Solvent, Valet, whatever. They all have a TDS online. And the TDS isn't different for every paint. It's usually like, you know, Createx Candy 2.0s, you always mix this way. For illustration colors, you mix them this way. For Wicked Opaques, you do this way. House Color, same thing. Base coats get mixed this way. Candies get mixed this way. And once you learn those, you're good to go. You got to be careful with online, you know, waters who come up with all these weird mix ratios. And sometimes, like, I do 1-to-1 a lot. And everyone's like, oh, 1-to-1 candies, how you mix candy. No, 1-to-1's how you mix candies for airbrushing little details. I don't mix them that way when I do, like, flames on a motorcycle or a car, because if I mix it that thin, it's going to model and get blotchy. Okay, it's going to be too wet, too thin. When I'm doing larger areas and graphics, I follow the text sheet, and then maybe tweak it from there, but I always start with that as the base. You know, 6-to-1, 8-to-1, like House of Color is up to 20% dye, the concentrate. So you would mix your base coat 2-to-1, which is their clear base coat, basically, and then you would add up to 20% candy concentrate to that mix. Okay, and that's how you dial it in. Okay, candy, do not spray that straight out of the bottle. A, you're just wasting it, and it's going to be way too strong, and you try to put anything over it, it's just going to bleed through because it's too much dye. The reason why a lot of people get a lot of bleed through on a lot of candies, even in solvents don't do it as bad, but they still can do it. Jeff will back me up on that. certain colors especially, like back in the day, Blurple and Cobalt Blue, and I think it was Wild Cherry for House of Color. You'd put 3 coats of clear on that. You'd wet sand it 2 days later, and the wet sanding goo would turn blue or magenta, because the dyes are so strong they would come through the clear. And when you're trying to go over base coats, it's really a problem. It's gotten better over the years. They've had better resins that can hold it. But if you overload, base coat and paint resins, whether it's solvent or water, can only hold a certain amount of dye and hold it solid before it'll start leaching through. Like if you re-wet or reactivate it. It can only hold up to so much. That's why solvents can be stronger than water-based, because they can solvents can hold more dye. If you want to avoid that bleeding, stick with like a pigment or a transparent color versus a candy. Transparent colors will give you a similar richness, not as deep, but you won't have the reaction. Does green clear good enough for motorcycle tanks? No, they do not. Their clear is a good top coat for industrial finishes, outdoor finishes, commercial finishes, but not automotive finishes. You can get it to buff glossy, but it will not hold up to fuel. So you can use their 4050, 4053 as an intermediate clear. Like you can clear it as a gloss clear and then sand and then put it. You want to, for anything automotive fuel safe, you want a 2K clear. You want a House of Color, PPG, or Revolt, something along those lines. HB Body, TranStar. You want a good 2K clear, something that's got a hardener in it that has UV inhibitors, and that's going to seal down your artwork. There's no water-based clear in the market that's truly automotive grade, fuel resistant as of now. We've been messing with it for years. We've tried it. There's nothing I've seen or used that I would say go for it. So yes, you would clear your Createx on a motorcycle. When I use Createx, it's getting cleared typically with House of Color. I'm going to clear this with House of Color when it's done. All right, where was I? So white, let's just hit, I'm going to hit a nice heavy spot here, like a heavy gleam. Just little bits. Look at those eyes. And I think this is a little too green here. I'm going to brighten that up. Yeah, I think that's going to look cool. If Warlock is still on, what did you miss? You missed almost a full wrap-up, buddy. I think you're still the high bidder unless I missed a bid. And that is going to look pretty cool. Actually, see, you can see the red. Anytime, tater salad. Oh, and I have one that has a purple glow, so I think you're the higher bidder, so you can decide if you want the one that has a little bit of purple. See how it's got a little purple? Yeah, maybe the purple looks better. You can rub and buff. Yeah. So you can pick whichever you like. Since you're the high bidder, unless someone's going to outbid you the last minute. What time are we at? 9:40. Hour and 40 minutes we're talking to finish this. Not too shabby. I think I want to get a little bit of glow out here. And I think it needs to have a little bit more purple. You want the purple one? Purple's yours. That means next week we have the red one. Maybe we'll do a Sally. We'll see how I feel. That means you got to choose back in. Maybe a little green on the other side. You want? I could do a little green over there. Well, it doesn't hit the purple. Let's do a little bit of green. Don't like it. Hold on. Luckily, the green can go to blue really easy. You 2K clear. No such thing as 4K clear. Oh, a little green in the frame. Ha! I did it here. Use. Anyway, watch. We're gonna make that blue again, which gives it a cool. Actually, that's a cool greenish blue glow on that side. Then we'll do more of a purple here on this side. Yeah, there we go. That definitely warms everything up a little bit. And then gonna make sure we sign it in a visible spot. There we go. Just making sure so people don't get confused. We try to keep educated here. $25. Almost done with 25, guys. Couple more. We'll darken that up a little bit. You're always learning, man. You're never going to stop. That's the one thing about this hobby. I've been doing this over 36 years, man. And I'll never stop learning. So that's right here. Let's show you what the other angle looks like. What do you think? It's going to look pretty awesome cleared up, I think. Might even look better with a flat clear over a gloss. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd go a full gloss. I think a satin would be really nice. Brighten him up here. Just don't want that a little bright. Even see, once you get it in the frame, sometimes you can brighten things up and just see what you got. Well, I think we're closing the bidding on this one for Warlock. Since he did have a themed wedding. Yeah, I think satin would have a cool... It would make it look more what you'd see like in a horror movie, like a haunted house where it's kind of got like the glasses... like a glass mirror had been smoked out a little bit. I think satin is the way to go on this. Yeah, I think we're going to go satin on this. Yep. Yes, he did say that. What kind of glass? Well, there's no I don't have any glass. Oh, man, this would be cool if you had a bubble frame, like an old school bubble frame. I don't have any glass, so it's just going to be, maybe Warlock, you can figure that out. But I think that's it, guys. I think this was a fun feed. It's always fun to paint Jack. Yeah, I think I still might want to blue that out a little bit. I'll still mess with it. But, you did the last... No, the last one didn't have a bubble. I had a bubble frame that was a round one with a... I think Gary might have that one. It was a skull inside a small round frame that had bubble. But I didn't... The Jack was done in a gold frame like this. It was a hair bigger, not much. But, yep. But I did do one with a bubble frame, but it was just a simple skull. It was a little round one. And yeah, it might have been it might have been last year's, but it was just a simple skull and a round bubble frame. I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah, Gary, was that 2 years ago, Gary? I think that was 2 years ago. But yeah, what do you think, guys? Pretty decent, fun project. Hope you learned some stuff. Yeah, I think this looks cool. This was a fun one. And it was a nice, not overthought day to get this done. I've been dealing with a bunch of crap past week with different jobs and trying to get people. Yeah. So next week we'll come up with something more Halloween-y. You know, maybe a Sally. We'll see. Or maybe something more like classic horror. I've already done. So I've done Bride of Frankenstein. I've done Frankenstein in the feed. I've never in my life painted a Bela Lugosi Dracula. And I have another one of these frames, and it has the red border. So it could be cool to do a Bela Lugosi classic horror next week. Maybe I'll put a poll up for the channel members. You guys would like that. Oh, I didn't even thank you guys. Thank you to all my Down Dirty Tricksters for all the support and everyone who's joined up and who stayed with me. We got Green Skulls, which have been here over 2 years. The Yellow Skulls over a year. So really thank you for the support. And don't forget, you get 25% off anything in the store, including the most recent stuff with the, well, you get the free Gothic Church. You get 25% off the Mummy one from last week and all that. So thank you to all my Down Dirty Tricks. If you haven't signed up, and you can go over to McKayFineArt.com. The Lady Vampire was a fun one. Yeah. And the original one I have of that in a frame like this, and that was originally done for Mike. I originally did the Sexy Vampire, and I gave it to Mike LaValle at the first, not the first one, the first one I went to of the Monster Bash. And after he passed, I was able to get it back because anything that wasn't signed by Mike really went down to Coast, and we did auction and things like that. So we were able to get some stuff back. Yeah, we could do. Yeah, I almost did Jack the Pumpkin King, but I painted like the like Pumpkin Reaper, which is very similar and close, a couple times. I've never done a Zero. Yeah, we'll see. We'll come up with something. Oh, you know what? I think, in looking at this, because I've never done, when I sprayed the white, those eyes got a little bit light. Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about here. Oops, wrong one. See how the eyes start to get a little hazy? Which is cool because I can leave a little bit of that. But I can hit it so it has a little bit of like the socket is in there still. So you're still seeing the backside. See how that little bit changed it? There's a subtle difference of the black to gray right there. Little bit. And it's going to make those eyes actually look deeper, not having them solid black. Subtle. That little subtle difference. Oh, yeah. Oogie Boogie would be fun to do. Yeah. Yeah, Punisher's not Halloween-y enough. Oh, Clown for Mick could be a fun one, too. All right. We'll put up I'll do a members poll. So in the next minute as we're closing up, put your ideas. I don't know, hashtag Halloween or something. I don't know. Just put something. I'll look through. So we got it. Oogie Boogie. We have Sally. I've been wanting to do an Oogie Boogie one. I actually have one from Disney, like a statue. Like, it was like a bucket. What's the Beetlejuice? Oh, that's, yeah, I still have that. I never finished. Yeah, dude, it's been sitting in the same spot since I did it. I just never finished the hair. But I never got the offer wasn't enough for how much work it was. So that's this big one here. So I still have this. I just never finished the hair on it. And I should just finish that and put it up on the store. That was a ton of work. That was a fun one, though. Yeah, that came out good, didn't it? Huh. Huh. Yeah, we'll have to revisit that. Maybe I'll do it overtime and just kind of, or like a midday, and we'll just get this one. Oh yeah. Well, we could talk. Warlock. It's still available. Yeah, I just gotta finish the hair on it. It was really just doing all the brush work on the hair. It would be cool to brush work and maybe put a little bit of that blue glow to the sides. We'll see. But I am trying to clear out some panels. I got so much artwork here over the years that I definitely got to clear some out. Monday, Monday 8 p.m. finish? Maybe. That could be a thing for Monday night. That's not a bad idea. Let me see how my Monday goes. I gotta get my SEMA panel for Iwata finished. I should have already had it finished and shipped out, so now I'm gonna have to finish it and fly with it. So that's what next week's gonna be. So, but that could be a nice thing. Maybe I'll finish that up. Maybe I'll use that to just finish up some projects. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that Monday night. We'll see. All right. Guys, have a great night. What is it? The Nightmare from the Sandman. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one. All right, we'll figure it out. Put some things in the description. I'll put up a poll this week, and you guys can pick it. Have a good one. Thanks for popping in. Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Get some more members in here. Let's get this channel growing. And don't forget, if you want discounts off downloads and support the channel, become a Down Dirty Trickster. There's a link somewhere. Somewhere. What do I do with it? No, that's not the right one.